Alethea Felton, and welcome to the Power Transformation Podcast. If you're struggling in your life with self-sabotaging and negative thoughts that leave you feeling stuck and limit you from moving forward, I can help you. As a holistic health and empowerment coach, I help people identify, challenge, and conquer those thoughts in order to make simple and practical changes to improve overall wellness. Let's remove those limitations, for the time is now to create your power transformation. Hey, y'all! Welcome back to another episode of the Power Transformation Podcast. I am so excited to have you here, and I thank all of you for being a huge support for the best of episode that was featured last week about controlling anger. I truly appreciate that, but y'all, I am back today with a new episode, and I think this is something that you will enjoy. And hey, y'all, look, the podcast is doing well, but we got to keep the momentum going. Please let everybody you know about the Power Transformation Podcast. We aren't slowing down. Every Wednesday, new episodes drop. So regardless of when you listen, the fact is you're here, and I am so happy to have you here with me and with us, with this Power Transformation community. So we're going to jump right into this, but go ahead, take the link of this episode, share it with 2 people that you know. That's all I'm asking y'all, 2, at least 2. You can always share it with more. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. I'm going to say an affirmation, and I want you to repeat it. I am good enough, capable, and equipped to achieve my goals. Yes, indeed. And why do I say that? Well, you can tell from the title of this episode, we are dealing today with something that a lot of people have had to overcome or struggle with, or might be in between. They may struggle and still overcome it. I know I'm one of those people. I'm in the middle. I have worked tremendously on conquering self-doubt, overcoming it. And there was a time when I had it bad. I had it bad, y'all. But with work over the years, I have gotten to a point where I don't struggle with it as much. But a lot of people do. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay if you do. But first, before we even get into the ways to overcome it, let's talk about what exactly is self-doubt. Well, as basic as we can put it, self-doubt is a common thread with all human beings. It's a part of our human experience. And it is simply when we lack a confidence or belief in our own abilities, decisions, or judgments. Self-doubt questions your competence. It questions whether you're worthy. It questions whether you will be successful in various aspects of your life. And this self-doubt is just not job related. It can be in any aspect of your life. In holistic health, as I've said before, what I assess when I take on clients is there's a wheel of life or a circle of life. And in that, it's like a pie chart. And so there are various aspects of our lives, everything from relationships, finances, physical activity, spiritual life, mental life, and it goes on and on and on. The whole point is it shows that these areas of our life, some might be more out of whack than others, or things may be almost perfectly balanced. Now, let me preface this. There will never be a perfect life. That just will not happen. There will be something that causes us to be maybe not as strong in one area as we'd like to versus the other. Part of my job as a certified holistic wellness coach and life coach is to help you find as much balance as possible so that you can have a more fulfilled life, so that you can conquer certain blocks. And one of the main things that this includes is also what areas of your life is there maybe some self-doubt, either in the present or in the past. And self-doubt shows up. It can manifest in many ways. I'll speak from my own experience. Take, for example, I'll go way back. When I hit puberty years ago, I was late with my puberty. And with puberty, I shot up like a tree. I gained weight. I got super tall. It was just so much going on. And you got hormones on top of that. So yeah, I was battling with a lot of self-doubt. Then on top of that, I had a severe speech impediment, a severe stutter. And I got away with it. But the key to it is that my parents put me in theater. And theater really opened up the opportunity for me because I learned breath control techniques. And I thank my drama coach. I love her dearly, Mrs. Schuler, who really taught me a lot of different techniques. I had been in some plays earlier, but really in middle and high school is really when I blossomed. And she helped me overcome self-doubt because here I was struggling with this speech impediment and knowing that I had something to say. So I wrote a lot in order to actually compensate. I had friends, things like that, yes. But the whole point is having to deal with puberty, stuttering, simply just being a 12-year-old kid, just trying to make it day by day. It was tough. And so that was really my first encounter with self-doubt. Now, it got better over the years, but in each stage of my life, in my 20s, 30s, now in my 40s, in my early 40s, I don't really struggle a lot with self-doubt. There are certain areas, though, that it still manifests, and I'm going to talk about that. But in terms of the real big struggle, that was a lot in my 20s and part of my 30s. But how can self-doubt show up in your life? Well, it can show up in a few ways. Negative self-talk is one of them. Even if we say things jokingly about ourselves, that negative self-talk is when you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or you're not capable. Even if you say something jokingly about yourself. Now, I'm not saying this about me, but this is an example. If you make a mistake on something and say, "Ooh, I'm so stupid," that's still negative self-talk. And if you are not careful, you will bring that into your realm. You will start believing it and taking on those characteristics. So that's why what we say out of our mouth is very important. Another way self-doubt shows up, perfectionism. When you are making unrealistically high standards for yourself due to the fact that you fear failure and making mistakes. So you're like, huh? How is that? Because self-doubt manifests. It shows up. It is birthed in us in these various ways. Another form of self-doubt is when a person compares themselves to someone else. So if you measure your success or your worth or your looks based on other people, that will cause feelings of inadequacy, which leads you to thinking that you're not worthy enough. Have you ever desired something for so long and wanted it and wanted it and wanted it, and when it shows up, you almost talk yourself out of it? Well, that's a form of self-doubt because you feel that, this is what I've wanted, this is what I've hoped for, this is what I prayed for, but now that it's really here, it can't possibly be true No, 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 this can't be. That's self-doubt because you are saying that you're not worthy of it. Y'all, I'm going to say a P word that is a form of self-doubt. It's not an expletive, but the word is procrastination. I don't know about y'all, but I know I have been guilty of procrastination all of my life. Not with everything, but with some things. Procrastination is when you avoid taking action on your goals or your dreams because of the fear of not measuring up to it, the fear of not fulfilling it, the fear of what could possibly go right if you do it. That is also a way self-doubt shows up. Have you heard of imposter syndrome? Well, this also is how self-doubt can show up. And imposter syndrome is when you think that your accomplishments are simply because of good fortune or luck or chance, but not from your efforts, skills, or your abilities. Things that you accomplish when you get promoted at work, more often than not, it's because your employer sees a hard worker, or when you're hired for a position, more often than not, that's what they see. Or if you're this, top chef type of a person and you didn't go to culinary school or you aren't trained like that, if everybody wants you to cater for them, you just might say, oh, yeah, they just like me. No, it's because you can throw down, you can burn in that kitchen, you can cook. You are worthy of it, but self-doubt makes you think you aren't. And another way self-doubt shows up is it causes you to avoid challenges. You shy away from new opportunities. You shut yourself out from new challenges, new feats, things that you haven't accomplished yet because you're scared that you won't succeed. And all of these can be triggered from criticism, pressures in society, or from your family, past failures, irrational beliefs. And these can hinder and potentially block personal and professional growth. They create anxiety and stress and lead to missed opportunities. But I don't want to end this podcast there. I want to teach you some tangible ways that you can overcome self-doubt. So if you haven't already started jotting it down, go ahead and take a pen or pencil or type wherever you are on your phone and just jot down these few tips that I'm going to give you in terms of conquering or overcoming self-doubt. The first thing that is so important to do when overcoming your self-doubt is to practice self-awareness. Look introspectively, look inwardly, and ask yourself, why do I experience this? Why do I have this doubt? What am I afraid of? Only you know what you're thinking. Someone can know you for years and still not know everything in your mind. You live within yourself. No one else does. So even if you appear to be the most confident person there is, there may still be some insecurities that lead to self-doubt within you. But when you are able to identify your triggers and the root causes, that is the key, getting down to the root. We've got to stop putting band-aids on issues. But when you get down to the root and to the heart of the matter, and doing this through self-awareness, then you can address and target that self-doubt more effectively. So practice that self-awareness. Another step is, and I talk about this all of the time, but it's true, mindset matters, y'all. But another step is to challenge your negative thoughts. 80% of thoughts are negative. 95% of thoughts are repetitive. Okay, you've got to challenge. Wait a minute, hold on, I messed up. 80, I do apologize. What I was trying to say is that your thoughts matter. So yes, 80% of your thoughts are negative. Okay, 80% of your thoughts are negative. In terms of your repetitive thoughts, wait a minute, I was right. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. Let's backtrack. Okay. 80% of thoughts are negative. 95% are repetitive. That's true. I apologize. That's true. My point in this is the way that the brain operates, and y'all look, if you're new to the podcast, you're going to hear authenticity. So I'm not going to go back, edit that part out. I'm human. I make mistakes. Right? Is look, y'all, then and there, I experienced a form of self-doubt because I doubted the statistic I gave you. And I went real quick just to confirm it in my notes. And sure enough, I was right. So, look at that. This episode is about self-doubt. And I had a moment of it because I doubted something I knew. So 80% of thoughts are negative, 95% of thoughts are repetitive. You want to challenge those negative thoughts because if 80% of the human thoughts are inherently negative, that means that whenever that self-doubt tries to creep or sneak in, you've got to then take that negative thought and negate it with a past achievement, a past success, a past ability, a past strength. It's this constant target of conquering. So say if you have a thought about, oh, I just can't lose weight or I just can't eat healthy. Well, I'm sure you've eaten a vegetable in your life. So even if it's something as small as that, you can say, well, I ate a vegetable. So that's positive. I can eat more. I can include more. I can have a healthier salad without all of the croutons and all of the fattening dressing. I can have a light vinaigrette instead. Little things like that, y'all, challenge those thoughts. Because when you start feeding your mind with more positive, life-giving thoughts, then that self-doubt starts to get eaten away and it's eliminated. That's what you want to do. Also, in terms of how to conquer self-doubt, develop a growth mindset. Now, this has been a buzzword for many, many years, okay? But a growth mindset falls hand in hand even with that challenging negative thoughts. Because a fixed mindset, let me tell you the opposite. A fixed mindset is a very limited mindset. It's very cut and dry, but it's a lot of negative thinking. It keeps you stifled. And it tells you, well, this is how it's always going to be. That's a fixed mindset. I'll give you an example due to the extensive career I had in public school education. A teacher with a fixed mindset would say, well, that child's special ed, so she can't do so-and-so. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset would say, this child learns differently. Let me give her multiple ways and strategies to see how she learns best. Because either way, the more I keep at it, I'm going to target all of her goals and she will learn. Do you see the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset? That growth mindset, in the case of self-doubt, embraces the idea that you can improve and learn from your failures. You see challenges as opportunities to grow, as opposed to having reasons and excuses for self-doubt. All of this takes a retraining of your brain. The mind is powerful. Back in the day, and it still might be their model today, but the UNCF, or the United Negro College Fund, their motto used to be, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. That is so true. And I'm not even speaking about it from a necessarily academic point of view, but just in general, the way that your mind processes, the way that you're able to rationalize, everything stems from your mind. Everything. The mind, the brain is an organ, just like your heart, just like your lungs. So, what are you feeding your brain? And I'm just not talking about the food you eat nourishment wise, but who are you listening to? Who's allowing you to be influenced? What are you watching? Are you only around people that have these limiting beliefs? Are you only around people with a fixed mindset? Because then you may have to have a shift, and that leads to the next tip on how to overcome self-doubt. And that could even be to simply visualize your success. Visualization, and I do have a past episode on visualization that is very powerful. That was actually episode 8. So go back, listen to that. That was from December of 2022. Episode 8 was on visualization. And what that means, this step of visualizing your success simply means picture, envision yourself achieving or accomplishing that which is keeping you blocked by self-doubt. Visualization is so powerful. And not only keep a mental picture of it, but write it down in a book or draw a picture of it. Have something physical and tangible that you can see on a daily basis, even if it's goals written out. I keep a book that has different goals in it. And the front cover of it has a word map. So it's almost like a drawing, but it's a word map. I look at that every day and I repeat certain key things from it every day because I want that to come into my reality, and it works. Visualization works, y'all. So self-doubt too is take that particular thing that you're doubting within yourself and envision it as having come to pass, as having happened. Then from there, the next step is just don't leave it there. Your next step in overcoming self-doubt is to take action despite it. Take action despite your fear. Take action despite you doubting yourself. Because the more actions you take toward accomplishing whatever it is, then the more likely you are to actually see it to the end and do steps day by day by day. It doesn't have to be a huge goal. You have to do it according to where you are, regardless of your age. Maybe, for example, you started a new job and it's more challenging than you thought. Well, write down goals every day as to what you're going to do to adjust more effectively. Or maybe you've had a little health setback and you've wanted to start working out again and you haven't. Well, set a goal and start taking action toward it. Maybe if it's you only walking or exercising or doing something for 10 minutes a day and building to it. It could be that you have a goal that you might have self-doubt in your parenting abilities. You might think, I'm just not a great parent. I don't know what to do about my kids, whether they're adults or children. The point is, take more time to take action toward building a better relationship with your kids. What can you do to try to make it better? So I'm giving different examples because taking action is really key. And then as you're in that process of it, then the next step to overcoming self-doubt is, as you're trying to do all of this, learn from setbacks. It is so easy to slip into dwelling on our past failures instead of taking the time to learn from them. Dwelling on what has happened in the past does no good because you cannot change the past, even if you wanted to. So think about, what can you learn from your past and from your setbacks and from your failures? Think about what went wrong. And instead of blaming others, just take what you can do and using that knowledge to improve in the future. And the last step to conquering self-doubt, I'm big on this and I will always say it: develop a support network. Develop a support network. Seek that support, y'all. Surround yourself with a person or people that believe in you. Now, when I say a network, it does mean more than one person. It doesn't have to be large. But even if it is 3 to 4, maybe even 5 people that you can surround yourself with who believe in your abilities, who believe in you, their encouragement can help conquer your self-doubt. It can counter it, rather. And you know what? Be bold enough and brave enough to tell them about your self-doubt. This can be from a therapist, your family, your friends, because they can give their own perspective. They can give insights. They can give encouragement. They can pray for you. They can motivate you. There is so much they can do instead of you trying it alone. But overcoming self-doubt isn't a one-stop shop. It is a process, a lifelong, ongoing process. You get better at it with the work. You get better at it when you commit the time to doing it. And your confidence will build. But before you even get there, you've got to recognize and challenge your negative thoughts and beliefs. And you have to realize and have hope that with effort and practice, it can be managed and minimized. Conquer that self-doubt, y'all. Take it day by day. You can do this. You got this. Let's close with our affirmation. I'll say it once and you repeat it. I am good enough, capable, and equipped to achieve my goals. If you enjoyed today's show, then you don't want to miss an episode. So follow the Power Transformation Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you usually listen, and remember to rate and review. I also invite you to connect with me on social media at Alethea Felton. That's at ALETHEAFELTON. Until next time, remember to be good to yourself and to others.